What's going on, guys? Your boy Amazing. We're back with another video, and in today's video, guys, me going over who should you be LRing first with the release of LR Margaret. We do have another LR to kind of discuss, guys, and in this video I'm going to be going over which one should you be LRing and the order you should be LRing the characters as well, depending on your account and how you want to go about it. So let's hop in, guys. We're going to be looking at each of the kits for the LRs, and then I'm going to let you guys know my number 1 all the way down to the number 4 in terms of priority for making their LR. So let's hop into the video. Alright, guys, so before we actually hop into the video, make sure to subscribe to your boy Amazing. We are on the road to the 40,000 subscribers. If you guys have not hit that subscribe button already, man, definitely make sure to. And without the way, let's hop in and let's go over the 4 characters here. So I do have, let me zoom in here, I do have the character kits open. So we have the Margaret, and then I do have all the info for the other LRs on GC database. So we will kind of go through the characters there and discuss. But for Margaret, guys, Margaret, after her changes, right, she has right here, so I'll read the passives so you guys can get an idea. But pretty much, whenever an ally uses a buff or stand skill, the basic stats of God's allies increase by 8% up to a maximum of 40%. Also, for each debuff effect you remove from using a skill, the critical probability and critical damage of your God's allies will increase by 4% up to 5 times. So you can get up to 20% crit chance crit damage and 40% basic stats. So the only thing that was added was the red text here, where it says also for each debuff you remove, and then the crit chance crit damage. And then for her AoE right here, she has a reduced crit resistance effect, right? So she's going to apply a crit resistance lower. And then it's obviously going to scale up. So 20, 30, 50. And the percents, as you guys can see as well, have increased. So 143 from 130. 215 from 195. And then 358 from 325. And then for the second skill that Margaret has, the cleanse card, it actually did increase for the rank 2 and rank 3, not the rank 1. The rank 1 stayed the same, but the rank 2 went from 45 to 50, 30 to 40, and then 50 to 60 and 40 to 50. So that's kind of the way you guys get it for the damage dealt and the damage reduction, right? So you get pretty big damage dealt, pretty big damage reduction. For the ultimate, guys, Margaret did get an effect where it increases the enemy's damage received by 50% for 2 turns. I think that will scale based on the dupes as well, so it's not for sure that that's going to be the case for Margaret. But yeah, that's pretty much the kit for the brand new LR Margaret. Now that we went over her, guys, let's hop into the other characters from GC database, since she has all the characters already laid out with their kits and all that. We'll go over this real quick and we'll see what this is all about. So for Liz right here, Liz is going to be the character that if you make her, she's a very strong PvE character. So I'm going to read off her kit right here. So this is her first skill. She has Flood AoE. This is the one with the LR, right? So Flood, she does 143, 220, 330, and Flood is obviously additional damage per every percent of remaining HP, which is good, right? And then she does have a defense related card where it removes debuffs and gives you defense related on the rank 1, rank 2, and rank 3, right? And then the ultimate here is actually really good because even at 1 to 6, it gives you 10% attack related stats, and that can scale up to all the way to 30% attack related stats. So depending on the dupe level, right? The higher the dupe, the better. But yeah, it does also fill ultimate move gauge of your allies by 2, and for the way LR Liz works, it actually fills her gauge by 3. So let's actually read our passive here. So in PvE battles, allies basic stats increase by 6% up to 30% whenever the hero heals an ally. The hero's ultimate move gauge increases by 1 orb whenever the hero uses a skill, and if the hero uses an attack skill, buffs are removed from the enemy before the skill activates. And then in all game modes, allies recovery rate increases by 20% whenever the hero heals an ally. So it's very good, guys, as you can see, because she's going to fill up her ultimate move gauge by a lot, so she can pretty much cycle ultimates for the rest of your team, and she is giving up to 30% basic stats, which is really, really good. And she's able to heal through the attacking skill and her ultimate for the actual basic stat increase. And then the recovery rate is in all game modes. So that is LR Liz right there. Moving on to LR Escanor. He is the next character we got here. LR Escanor, I feel like, is a little bit more restrictive versus the other characters here. But for the kit of LR Escanor, this is passive right here. Applies Eternal Flame to the enemy who did not use a skill at the end of the enemy's turn for 3 turns. If all allies, including the subslot, are human at the start of the ally's turn for 3 turns, applies 1 Eternal Flame on all enemies for 3 turns. And for every Eternal Flame on the enemy, increase the hero's attack-related stats by 5% up to 30%. And then removes buffs and debuffs and becomes immune to debuffs when the hero's ultimate move gauge is completely filled. So they pretty much added like a ton on top of it for LR Escanor. And then yeah, for his kit though, he does have the burst effect. So for every eternal flame, 40% damage, and this is for all these skill ranks as well. So rank 1, rank 2, rank 3. And then the buff removal card, I think, is remove buffs rank 1 if I'm not mistaken now. So there is that, and then it obviously scales up as well. And then the ultimate did actually get ignore crit resistance, guys. So depending on the dupe level, you would ignore a certain amount of crit resistance, but I think at 6 out of 6, it is just 100%. So that is the LR Escanor right there. So yeah, not too crazy, but that is LR Escanor. Moving on to LV, guys. We do have LR Lostvayne. He was the first LR that we ever got on Grand Cross. For his skills, let's go to his passive. Increases the ranks of all the hero skills when the hero takes critical damage during the enemy turn, and increases crit defense by 30% up to 90. In addition, every time the hero's skills rank up due to this effect, increases attack related stats by 10% for 3 turns, stacks up to 5 times. And then for Melly's kit, he does have Sever single target with Fill ultimate move gauge, so he has 2 effects. He has Sever, which is times 3 crit chance, and then Fill gauge. And then for his second skill here, he has Charge, which ignores defense, which is the same skill that Margaret has, but then he also has Infect. So he has Infect and Charge, and then the scaling obviously does increase as well. And then for his ultimate, he's going to increase the hero's all stats by 20% at 6 out of 6, and then inflict secret technique damage depending on the multiplier and the rank. So that is pretty much the LR characters right there, guys. Oh, and I guess the Holy Relics too, I forgot to mention. But for every ultimate move gauge, increase the damage dealt by 10% for melee. And then Escanor's is an older Holy Relic, but it increases attack by a value of equal to 50% of the hero's defense at the start of the battle. And then Elizabeth is the HP related for all the allies. And then Margaret's Relic did not get changed either, but I think it was just damage reduction, damage dealt for Archangels. So yeah, man. So at the end of the day, guys, which LR should you be making and what should you prioritize for your LRs? In my opinion, the number 1 LR you guys should be making for a lot of players is going to be LR Elizabeth. And the reason why I say this is because of the PvE content you can clear. If you are struggling with Nidhogg, and I think a lot of other PvE content in the game, even the new Demonic Beast mode, I feel like LR Liz is a must character, right? I feel like she's a must have for the actual mode. So if you're someone that like loves to do PvE content and specifically Demonic Beast battles, she is a character that works on all 4 of them. She's very, very good because she has healing, she has gauge fill for herself, and she increases basic stats for the team. So she covers pretty much everything you need, and because of that, I would say she's my number 1 recommendation for a lot of people getting into Grand Cross, or you're just like not super like, you know, into like the end game of PvE. If you have her, she's very, very good, man. One of the best PvE characters in the game, if not the best PvE character in the game. So that is number 1 right there. And that's only if you're struggling with these PvE contents. If you're already doing fine in all the PvE content, you might not necessarily need this Elizabeth, and I don't think she's actually as needed. So there is that. Alright, for the number 2, it is a toss-up, I would say, between other Escanor and Margaret at this point, right? The thing is with Margaret, right? So she just released, and we don't know for sure how strong she's gonna actually be. I haven't actually gotten to test her in the game to know how actually much of a benefit her buff was. But from what I can tell off the rip, and knowing that you'll run her alongside my ult team, she's gonna be very, very strong, man. I would not be opposed to you guys making LR as the number 2 because she's still a good character, and getting the LR for her would mean that you could run LR Margaret and LR Liz for all your PvE content, and then for PvP you could run a goddess team if you pull my out on November Fest, let's say, right? So that's honestly not a bad idea. I do think that's pretty good. On the flip side though, right, Escanor, the reason why I'd recommend him is because with Chaos Arthur most likely being the next LR we would get, or next festival, I mean, LR Escanor is going to be great. We look at his passive, right, where if all allies, including the subslot, are human, at the start of the ally's turn applies 1 Eternal Flame on all enemies. He increases his attack-related stats for every Eternal Flame, and if Arthur is a very strong DPS type character as well, him alongside this LR Escanor is going to be very, very insane. So if you want to build for the upcoming human team that could possibly be meta, then picking LR Escanor is not a bad idea. So right now, I have a toss-up between LR Margaret and LR Escanor, but I'd say probably Margaret, because you could get more synergy out of her using her alongside this LR Liz. I think I'm going to say that. I think Escanor is definitely a really, really good pick though, because you can run him for humans PvP. But yeah, you know, it's definitely situational, right? That's what I'll say. And then for the last one, it is Meliodas. Meliodas is not a bad LR, and he's probably one of the better ones, honestly, if we think about just kit wise. Like, LR Meli is great. The one thing that I think that holds LR Meli back is that the other LRs have been getting other uses that, you know, make them more valuable for their use case, right? Like LR Escanor for the human team, right? Chaos Arthur is going to be releasing. He's going to be very good in PvP. LR Meli right now, you know, he's on Sin's team, but that's his best team, and he might be getting replaced at the end of the year with the next Meliodas, right? So it's hard to say to make LR Meli right now, considering the landscape of the game we're in. Whereas, you know, making LR Escanor, making Margaret, making Liz are going to be a lot better right now. And, you know, Meliodas used to be good in Heroes Arena as well, but I don't think those teams are as good anymore for Sins. Obviously, you know, you could use Sins going first and it's going to be really good, but going second, it's not that great. You know, it's still a good team, but it's just not better than the other teams right now in Heroes Arena. And I think LR Escanor human team is one of them that's being used right now anyway, and I do think that Margaret will be used in Heroes Arena as well, considering she is, you know, giving the team a lot of basic stats and can provide a lot. So yeah, man, that's pretty much my ranking though, guys. So let's wrap it up again. My ranking is going to be number 1, LR Elizabeth if you're struggling with PvE. Number 2, I'm going to say Margaret because of the synergy between both of them. Since they're both goddesses, you can run them both together with Mael. I think it does have a lot of synergy by making these two back to back. And then LR Escanor would be next, depending on if you want to push for the human team. That could be, you know, the upcoming meta team with Chaos Arthur possibly releasing for November Festival. And then I'd say LR Meli is going to be last because he's not necessarily providing too much for the team. And, you know, at least in this landscape, right? At least in this landscape, right? We're going to be getting another Meliodas end of year. I do think you'll probably be better in LR Meli at that point. So it's really just, you know, kind of a toss-up for this Meli band. But that would be my ranking, guys. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What do you guys think of the LRs and my ranking here for making the LRs in the priority? That's going to be it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe as always. If you guys want to see more videos like this, definitely let me know in the comment section below. And I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Peace out and have a great rest of your day, guys. See you later, man.